When the driver pulled up, the figure disappeared into the mist. Welcome to Friday Night Ghost Frights from Haunted Road Media. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. Explore with us. The world is crisscrossed with millions of roads, and many of them are haunted. Of course, we should know since we're Haunted Road Media. While an all-inclusive list would take far too long to amass, here are 5 of the world's most haunted. The A75 Scotland. The A75 in Scotland is a primary trunk road, and is also said to be the country's most haunted. Kinmount Strait, a 15-mile stretch between Gretna and Dumfries, including an area near Kelhead Plantation and Kinmount House, is said to be the most haunted. In 1962, Derek and Norman Ferguson witnessed a plethora of activity as a hen flew into their windshield and then vanished, followed by an old woman flailing her arms, a screaming old man, and then an assortment of cats, dogs, and small barnyard animals. The temperature dropped suddenly, and their car began to sway violently back and forth before stopping when they exited the vehicle. When they got back in and drove away, they witnessed a phantom furniture van drive toward them and then disappear. Over the years along this road, others have reported seeing screaming hags, an assortment of ghostly people crossing the road, horses and carriages, and other disappearing road casualties. Route 66, Oklahoma. It was dark and dank, the roadbed still wet with rain that had poured down for hours. A mist hung in the air, painting the aged sedan with fine droplets of water as the vehicle rambled down Old Route 66. Up ahead on the right was a huddled figure in a brown trench coat and a tattered fedora trudging up the road. As the car neared, the driver determined that the figure seemed to be an older gentleman and slowed, taking pity upon the man and offering a ride out of the horrible weather. However, when the driver pulled up, the figure disappeared into the mist. The legendary Route 66, which ran its course through Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, is arguably the most famous historic highway in America. Following World War II, U.S. Route 66 became a symbol of American freedom, linking 2 sides of the country together. However, by 1970, most sections of Route 66 had been bypassed with new 4-lane highways, and the following year, the route was officially decertified. The strip of Route 66 that runs from El Reno, Oklahoma to Weatherford seems to be the most particularly haunted. The visage of the old man on the roadside has a number of variations. As previously described, some have tried to offer him a ride, but he will simply vanish into thin air. One person actually enticed him into the car and described him as an eerie little man. Suddenly, the man tried to jump out of the car after it started moving, so the driver pulled over to let him out. However, the man was no longer in the car and was not spotted anywhere nearby. A few miles down the road, the driver saw the gentleman walking along the roadside the same way as he had before. Other drivers have stated the apparition jumps out to the road and they think they've hit him. However, when they get out of their cars to check, not a soul is around. Scores of people have either been seriously injured or died in automobile accidents on this stretch of Route 66, including a 1952 wreck that claimed the lives of 3 people. In one strange mishap in nearly the same location, a man was tossed from the cab of a truck and died of severe chest injuries suffered from smacking the roadside. A 1953 collision just a few miles further west of El Reno during an intense downpour killed 2 and injured 7. It is said the creepy roadside vagabond is most often seen while it's raining. Is it possible he's a specter of one of these accidents? The A229, England. The A229 in England is a major road running north and south through Kent from Rochester, and it is a former Roman road that ran from Rochester to Hastings. On November 19, 1965, a car accident on the A229 at Bluebell Hill killed 3 women, including one who was to be wed the next day. In 1971, James Skeen was driving home from work when a young woman suddenly appeared in the road. She was looking for a ride to Chatham, which he gave. When she got out of the vehicle, she disappeared. In 1992, there were 3 separate accounts of motorists reporting running over a figure that ran out in front of their automobiles late at night, only to discover that they hadn't hit anyone at all. Police found no evidence of an accident. One driver, Ian Sharp, stated that he saw the ghost of a woman about a week before the anniversary of the 1965 crash. I had come out of the Bluebell Hill slip road from the village coming down the hill. I saw this woman and thought, oh, she'll go back, she won't come across. But then she just ran straight in front of the car and I hit her on the left side. She was looking at me all the time. I honestly thought that I had killed her. I was so scared to look underneath, but I knelt down and looked straight through. There was nothing there. There have been other reports in the area over the years of a young woman in a nightgown and a hitchhiker, all of whom have disappeared after sightings. Clinton Road, New Jersey. Clinton Road is named for the settlement of Clinton, New Jersey, which no longer exists. Even when the area was first settled, rumors grew of something sinister in the surrounding woods. Wrote J. Percy Cran in 1905 about the area around the Clinton Furnace. It was never advisable to pass through the 5-mile woods after dark, for tradition tells us they were infested with bands of robbers and counterfeiters, to say nothing of the witches that held their nightly dances and carousels at Green Island, and the ghosts that then made their appearance in such frightful forms that was more terrifying to the peaceful inhabitants than wild animals or even the Indians that often passed. The most popular story is that of the boy at the bridge near the Clinton Reservoir. They say if you toss a coin into the water, a boy will toss it back at you. Some claim to have also seen the boy's reflection in the water. Just off the road are what's left of the ruins of Cross Castle, a mansion built by Richard Cross in 1905. After he died in 1917, the property was sold, and a fire eventually destroyed much of the home, except for the stonework. It became a congregating area for teenagers, hikers, and even the KKK. People have reported hearing chanting and chains rattling from the castle, white figures walking in the woods nearby, and the feeling of being watched while there. When finally taking down the walls in 1988, a demolition crew uncovered an inaccessible area of the basement that contained satanic writing. To add to the legends, the body of a cyclist had been found just off Clinton Road in 1983, frozen before it was dumped in an attempt to mask the time of death. There have also been reported sightings of UFOs along the road, ghostly sightings of hellhounds and wolves with white and yellow eyes, and even phantom automobiles. Archer Avenue, Justice, Illinois. Perhaps the most famous ghost in the Chicago area is that of Resurrection Mary, a young hitchhiking woman along Archer Avenue in Justice. Reports of Mary began in 1939 when Jerry Pallas danced all night with a beautiful blonde woman at a local dance hall and gave her a ride home down Archer Avenue. The ride ended at Resurrection Cemetery, where she got out and disappeared. In 1979, a local cab driver reported picking up a young woman in a white party dress, dropped her off as requested on Archer, and then watched her disappear. Others have also reported picking up a similar woman in a white party dress only to have her disappear, while some have said to have slammed on their brakes at a young woman who ran out in front of their vehicles. At Resurrection Cemetery in 1976, a couple reported to police seeing a young girl locked inside the gates. When the police arrived, they discovered the bars on the front gate had been burned in the shape of handprints. Cemetery officials denounced the event and claimed the burn was from a maintenance accident. The bars have since been removed. Who is Resurrection Mary? There are two theories. One is that she was Anna Maria Norcus, who died in a 1927 car accident on her way home from the O. Henry Ballroom. The other is that she may have been Mary Bregovy, who died in a 1934 car accident, although Resurrection Mary is said to have had shoulder-length blonde hair, while Mary Bregovy had short dark hair. Thank you for watching Friday Night Ghost Frights on Haunted Road Media. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and click the little bell for notifications. And by all means, please be careful the next time you drive down a haunted road.